Hey everybody, this is our last little deck tech building thingamajig for Arkham Horror. We're doing a Dunwich Legacy campaign with Daisy, Wendy, and Zoe. And this is Zoe. These are the starting cards. I don't know if I've never played Zoe, so I don't even know there's much to say about her. But she basically goes around and kill things, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Zoe's very strong at higher difficulties, in particular because her cross allows her to get free damage. And anything you get for free without having to test for it at higher difficulties is incredibly valuable.
Seems good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the core set first, and then we're going to go through the Dunwich Legacy cards. We're playing with the first cycle and that. So here's some... you actually stay here, Zoe. What
Everything up to and not including the Path to Carcosa.
Yes. We got 2 machetes, which is an action fight. You get +1 strength, fist for this attack. If the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, this attack deals +1 damage.
This is the best weapon.
It is like just the best non-ammo using weapon you can get. Pretty close to.
Like,
I think I like the fire axe better personally.
Considering experience cost and like my resource cost play, it's the best weapon. I think.
Travis seems to think otherwise.
Yeah, I'll like again. That's one of those things we'll explain at a later point. But like, it's just that's a core blue card. If you're playing a blue guy, you should probably be playing 2 machete. If you're not, you better have a damn good reason.
Worst case is it discards
Like
for a fight.
Yeah.
For like +1 fist. So.
Like you only own 1 copy of the core set.
Yeah.
Worst case, you should probably buy another copy so you can have 2 machetes.
We also got 2 first aid, which is use 3 supplies. If first aid has no supplies, discard it. Heal 1 damage or horror from an investigator location. I imagine this is here to kind of make sure you don't die and go insane.
Don't want to die in combat. That's not fun. It is mostly just filler at this point, but...
this first aid is not really playing for him, actually. He's always got 8 hearts. He's playing mostly for Daisy.
It can also heal horror damage, and I only get 6 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can heal either one.
Wow, that's better than I thought.
So it's not a terrible card. It lets you heal without making any tests, which is
fine. Bandage you just starts wrapping bandages around your head.
Yeah.
You feel better, right?
There's cards
what if
coming
you
out.
couldn't hear this? Would it be less scary then?
Yeah, just pretend nothing's around. There's a card coming out that adds supplies onto stuff, right? That'll be good just first aid forever.
There's also a green card that adds supplies onto things.
Just, oh my god, that looks horrifying. You pull
I don't
your
think it's
bandages,
worth it
start
for this
wrapping
one.
around their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, that's better, right? Yeah, sure.
We got 2 dodges, which are just fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator location. Cancel that attack.
Not taking damage
Why
is
not?
pretty good.
Not taking damage is better than taking damage.
And it has 2 symbols, which just,
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
the foot is very important, actually, for Zoe. I wouldn't feel bad to see Zoe committing one of those to a test to, like, not take damage from a grasp.
Yeah, because the enemies aren't going to attack when Zoe's around because she's going to kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's her hope. Anyway. What Viscous Blows, as you call this? 2 copies of Vicious Blow. If this skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. With the machete alone, that deals +2 damage.
That's 3 damage. That's a lot. That's like 3 base attacks.
After the base game, they seem to learn that all of the weapons deal +1 damage, so 3 health is where they wanted their monsters to be at. So the +1 damage off Vicious Blow is super relevant for that.
Well, if they don't deal +1 damage, like, your weapon's kind of garbage, so...
Yeah.
Right.
Which
like
I
all the good weapons deal
could
+1
create a
damage,
snowballing
pretty
effect
much.
where you're like, if they're not worth plus damage, they're not worth playing, and then they're like, well, we'll make monsters have 3 health, and they're like, well, now if they don't deal +2 damage, they're not worth playing.
Yeah.
And then I guess we'll make monsters with 4 health.
I imagine it's going to stay at +1 and 3 health for the base.
Yeah.
And then, like, more experienced weapons and later enemies in campaigns will see the...
No, you can definitely buy some pretty big guns for experience if you really want
Like
to,
the
that deal
lightning
some
gun.
massive amounts of damage.
Yeah.
Or some pretty big spells, like Shriveling level
Yeah.
5 is insane. It's like +2 damage, you get
But
like 3 brain.
It's something I like about this game, but also hate that you have to, like, play through to buy the cool stuff.
Yeah, you always have to start out with some of the lame stuff in your deck.
Yep, which will be less of a problem later in the game, but...
Emergency Cash.
I imagine you've
It's
explained
good.
this one twice before
Oh,
already.
yeah, it's just that it's good. 0.
It's just good.
We'll talk about why it's good maybe in a later video,
Yeah,
but like it's good.
You just put it in your deck.
Yeah.
And then we got Unexpected Courage, which
It's
once
good.
again, 2 wild symbols, 1 per test. Still 2 wild is very strong.
There have been 2 in the Wendy deck, but we only have 2 core sets, so that's only 4 copies of that card.
As a side note as well, I also really enjoy, like, because these are the non-wild versions, both Guts and Overpower, both Fist and Brain. The balance of not wild is being able to draw a card if it's successful.
I actually think it's worse in most cases. I'd rather be playing like the draw card one than the
Usually,
yeah. I agree.
Being able to filter through your deck for like that is in general very
Like
strong.
I wouldn't play the book one for Zoey because I never plan on, like, you don't want to be investigating. That's not the thing you're good at.
Yeah.
You should play somebody else if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Even then, like if you are playing it, it's not awful. You can like
No.
just stick with your investigator guy. Like I'll protect you and like
And then just throw it away for them, and then they
Yeah,
get
and
to draw,
then-
and then you get to draw a card. Right?
in their
Yeah,
deck
it's
they're
not-
like, I'm playing 2 overpowers, so like here's some punches to kill that
Yeah.
guy who's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
they're
cards are
pretty
good.
alright.
Die, you beast, is the flavor text. This is the first time I've actually, honest to God, noticed that these cards have flavor text.
I'm excited for Silas.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna be real good at killing squids and shit, apparently.
All right, so now we're in the Dunwich Legacy. So if you don't have the expansions, stop watching now and go buy them, and then these will make more sense. 2 events. If it bleeds, fast play after you defeat a monster enemy. Each investigator at your location heals horror equal to that enemy's horror value.
Yeah, again, this is just to shore up the fact that Zoey only has six brains to her.
I mean, ideally you're
Wow.
not taking damage, but sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't avoid it.
And then
And
if
this
you're
is-
not taking damage, it has 2 symbols, so you can use it for treachery cards that show up. Or
This is
you-
another one of those very low opportunity cost cards.
Yeah.
It's got 2 very relevant symbols to a goon. It only costs 1 resource. It's fast.
And the horror value is
The damage it would deal.
with
The
brain.
brain damage it would deal.
So it doesn't do much to like a swarm of rats that just
No.
bite you to death.
It doesn't do
but-
anything with those.
I mean,
but like for example,
everyone
Whippoorwill,
knows
which
they
deals a
bleed.
brain damage.
Yeah.
It'll
So
heal
that's
you
horror
1/4.
damage on an enemy, or horror value rather.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2 copies of Prepared for the Worst.
This
Search the
card seems very good.
search the top 9 cards of your deck for a weapon asset and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. Get filters through your deck to find something.
Weapons are what you want,
Yeah.
and this lets you possibly pick it.
And
So
For those of you who are wondering what the optimal amount to use, there is a post on the ARKHAM Horror LCG subreddit on Reddit that details it. I believe the optimal amount is to prepare for the worst with 4 other weapons. To have it's something like a 92% chance of having a weapon the first 2 turns or something like that.
seems good.
So
And then once again, as I'm going through this, I'm noticing the trend of 1 cost usually has
your
2
blue
symbols.
player, for the blue guys, they don't have ways to make extra money.
Yeah.
As a general rule, they're not going to have the luxury of having extra actions to spend, taking resources. They gotta go and kill stuff. They gotta work with what they got.
Yep.
So
yeah, Zoey does have ways to make extra resources on her own, but we have ways to spend those,
as well.
which we'll get to eventually.
Yeah. All right, then we got ourselves 2 copies of Taunt. Fast, play only during your turn. Engage any number of enemies at your location. And it has 2 symbols, Brain and Fist. Seems
This one of those cards lets you be like a tank for your softer, squishier allies.
like if I get,
Um,
as Daisy, if I get attacked by 3 Migos, you can be like, hey man.
one of the cards in particular you should be looking to upgrade is like to get copies of Brother Xavier that let you be like real tanks, especially in conjunction with the
upgraded taunt
taunts.
is also very good. It like you
Draws you a
engage
card.
and then you draw a card for each
Yep,
enemy that
that
you
seems
engage
really
with
strong.
it, which seems quite good because it's still 1 cost and still fast.
Yeah.
No, it's just one of those cards that like it lets you fill in your role much better. It wasn't there during the core set, and it just, you get to be the team tank.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna take damage. I'm gonna fight guys. This lets me do that better.
Yeah. Alright, we got 2 copies of Leadership. I've never seen this card. While Leadership is committed to a skill test by being performed by a player, by another investigator, Leadership gains 1 brain and 1 wild. So, if you put it on another player, it's 1 brain and 2 wild.
If you put it on another player, it's like unexpected courage plus, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
On yourself, it's just 1 wild, but well, it's always plus. Like you always could have the advantage on it.
I mean, you always get the brain, but
The
it's
extra-
only ever relevant
yeah.
when you're doing a brain
It's only
test.
relevant when doing a brain test, but
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid card. Again, you
Yeah.
want to spend a lot of your time near your allies. So, like the squishier ones, this can help them out with like shitty treacheries that come up that
Yeah.
might be threatening their health or whatever.
and worst case is you discard it yourself to give yourself +1 to whatever test you're running.
Yeah.
So, why not?
Like foot tests.
It's like foot tests. Ideally, you never have to do book tests if you're
He
playing
says
a blue hero.
Zoey trips over her own feet.
2 copies of Fire Axe. So as the expansion character, you can have up to 5 0 level of every color.
any color.
Of any
For the
color.
Dunwich
For
Legacy
the Dunwich
characters.
Legacy
Yeah.
characters, anyway. That's how they work.
So Fire Axe's fight. If you have no resources in your resource pool, this attack deals +1 damage. As a fast action, you can, during an attack using Fire Axe, spend 1 resource, you get +2 for the skill test, limit 3 times per
Yeah.
attack.
So that's what we're ideally going to be spending our resources doing.
It's a very good strong money sink. It's kind of the premier red weapon. If you're like,
It's that.
it's
or
kind of
baseball
weird now
bat,
because like Wendy doesn't want to fight things really, and then the other red person is like
He has a dog.
Has
that
a
does
dog.
everything.
He has
Yeah.
a dog who fights for him. So like there isn't really a red character that wants the Fire Axe right
No,
now,
but,
but
it's
it's
very-
still very good.
It's very good for Zoe because you get 1 resource every time you engage an enemy, so it makes your axe better, and it's very good if you're also if you're playing Jenny Barnes.
Yeah,
Because
because you get more money
a whole
spent.
pile of resources and you need something to do with it.
Yeah, it is a pretty solid green weapon as well, as just a money sink.
We got ourselves 2 copies of Liquid Courage, which for supplies, spend 1, choose an investigator at a location to heal 1 horror. Then that investigator tests Brain 2. If they succeed, they heal 1 additional horror. If they fail, they discard 1 card at random from their hand.
Yeah, again, we're just trying to shore up the fact that we only have 6 brain, and a lot of monsters deal brain damage to you.
And treacheries in particular.
And a lot of
the treacheries are the
deal brain
really
damage
scary
to you.
ones.
And we don't want to die.
Dying is like
Dying is
losing
bad
the game,
times.
so
We got 1 copy of Clarity of Mind. Use 3 charges. Spend 1. I see a running theme. Spend 1 charge. Heal 1 horror from an investigator at at your location, not any location. That would be good.
brain damage is
Yeah,
bad.
so again, like dying to brain damage is bad.
This helps us not do that.
This helps us not do
So,
that.
yeah. Those are the 5 off-color cards for Zoe right now.
And then we have 1 painkillers, which is spend 1 supply, exhaust painkillers, take 1 horror, and heal 1 damage.
Brain damage is bad.
Yeah, so like this one does the opposite of what the other cards do.
But you need it
lets-
just in case.
It lets us have, like, if we have this card and we have one of our several options that let us heal horror damage, we can heal like meat damage with it too, right?
So as you can
Which is what we're looking to do.
As you can see from all of our decks, if you've watched all 3 deck techs, that Bryn's deck is the one that has the most healing because he's the one that's going to be going most toe-to-toe with monsters.
Yep.
Well, we are going
Wendy
to be...
encounters monsters, I'm ideally going to be running away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I am going to be
Never
Reading
encountering
books.
monsters ever.
having a good time, how it is. And yeah, so you can find below the links to the videos for the Dunwich Legacy that we're doing with these new decks. If you have any comments about cards you think you would add or be good in this deck, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, let's go fucking kill some monsters.